The lunch crowd filled the small restaurant with a buzz of chatter and clinking dishes. Sunlight poured through the windows, casting a soft glow over the wooden tables and worn chairs. Waiters weaved skillfully between customers, balancing trays and taking orders. The scent of fresh bread and simmering soup hung in the air. It was a place people came to relax, catch up, or grab a quick bite in the middle of a busy day. Through the front door, a woman stepped inside, her movements careful but quiet. At her side walked a calm, steady dog, a large golden retriever wearing a bright blue vest with patches sewn on the sides. The dog's eyes were gentle but alert, watching the room with quiet confidence. A small badge hung from the vest, catching the light when the dog shifted its weight. The woman held the leash lightly but firmly, her fingers brushing against the dog's fur. Her face showed a mix of nervousness and hope. She glanced around looking for a place to sit where she could just enjoy her meal without trouble. Though she moved with caution, there was a quiet strength in her steps. Around her the restaurant hummed with life, friends laughing softly, phones buzzing, servers calling out orders. The warm atmosphere welcomed many, but beneath the friendly buzz, a faint tension lingered, like an unspoken question waiting to be asked. The woman and her service dog seemed to belong here, but something in the air suggested the peace they hoped for might not last long. As the woman and her service dog settled near a corner table, the restaurant's door swung open again. The manager stepped inside, his sharp eyes immediately locking onto the blue vest and the dog's calm presence. He walked over quickly, his pace firm and purposeful. Stopping beside the woman, he lowered his voice, but it was loud enough for nearby diners to hear. "Is that a real service dog, or is this some kind of scam?" His words cut through the buzz of the restaurant like a sudden silence. The woman looked up, trying to stay calm. She reached down and gently patted the dog's head. "This is a service dog. She's trained to help me." "Here," she said quietly, pulling a small badge from the dog's vest and holding it out for the manager to see. The manager glanced at the badge but didn't seem convinced. "That's probably fake," he snapped. "We don't allow pets in here unless they're real service animals. I'm going to have to ask you to leave." A hush fell over the restaurant. Forks paused halfway to mouths, conversations quieted, and eyes turned toward the scene. The woman's heart pounded. She felt every stare like a weight pressing down on her. Her cheeks warmed with embarrassment. She opened her mouth to explain more, but the manager cut her off sharply. "You can't just bring a dog in here and expect everyone to believe it's a service animal. We have rules." The woman's voice trembled, but she held her ground. "This dog is not a pet. She's been trained to assist me because of my disability." Still the manager shook his head, refusing to back down. The tension grew thick in the air, like a storm about to break. Some customers whispered quietly, others stared with curiosity or discomfort. The woman's nerves frayed, and the dog sat perfectly still, sensing the unease but offering quiet comfort. In that moment, the woman felt exposed, like her right to simply be there was being questioned and denied. The restaurant, once warm and welcoming, had turned cold and uncertain, and all eyes were fixed on her. The quiet whispers started to spread like a soft wave through the restaurant. Some diners exchanged looks of confusion, unsure what to make of the manager's words. Others leaned in, their faces softening with sympathy for the woman and her dog. A few shook their heads quietly, clearly uncomfortable with the situation unfolding before them. Among the crowd, a middle-aged man at a nearby table stood up slowly. Without raising his voice, he spoke firmly to the manager. "She has every right to be here. Service dogs are protected by law." His calm but steady tone seemed to catch the attention of others. Several people nodded, some pulling out their phones, as if ready to record what was happening. The woman kept her voice steady, but inside her heart was racing. She felt the weight of the stares, the questions, the judgment. Yet she refused to show the fear or frustration building beneath her calm exterior. The dog sat quietly, sensing the tension but remaining by her side, a steady presence amid the growing storm. But the manager wasn't finished. His face tightened with anger as he pointed at the dog. "I don't care about the law," he said sharply. "You need to leave. Either the dog goes, or both of you go." The woman's eyes widened, but her voice was firm. "I have a right to be here, with my service dog. I'm not leaving." A hush fell over the room again, heavier this time. The air felt charged, as if everyone was holding their breath. The tension between the woman and the manager grew thick, ready to snap. Some diners shifted uncomfortably, unsure whether to intervene or stay silent. Others whispered words of encouragement toward the woman. The man who had spoken earlier gave a slight nod, as if to say, "You're not alone." The scene felt fragile, hanging on the edge of something bigger. It was clear that this moment was about more than just a dog in a restaurant. It was about respect, rights, and standing up against unfair judgment. The question everyone silently asked was, what would happen next? Would the manager back down, or would the conflict explode in front of the entire restaurant? The suspense was thick. No one wanted to look away. The woman took a slow, deep breath. Her fingers reached down to the service dog's vest, gently unhooking the small badge that hung there. Without a word, she lifted it carefully and let it fall onto the table with a soft clink. The sound echoed in the sudden silence that swept across the restaurant. Every pair of eyes turned to the badge resting on the worn wood. The blue and white emblem stood out clearly. It was official, printed with the name of a real recognized organization that certified service animals. The room felt still, as if waiting for what would happen next. She looked up at the manager, her voice steady and calm. "This badge is from an accredited group that trains and certifies service dogs. This isn't a pet, this is my lifeline." The manager snorted, dismissive at first. "I don't care what that says. It's just a piece of plastic. Anyone can make one of those." But the mood in the restaurant had already shifted. Whispers turned into murmurs of doubt and discomfort aimed at the manager. A few customers exchanged glances that said, "Maybe he's wrong." A young woman near the back of the room quietly pulled out her phone and started recording the interaction. She zoomed in on the manager's face as he argued, catching every sneer and dismissive gesture. Her voice was low but firm when she spoke up. "It's clear this woman is telling the truth. You're wrong to treat her like this." The manager's confident sneer faltered for a moment. The camera's lens seemed to hold him accountable, and the eyes of the restaurant weighed heavily on him. His anger gave way to confusion and then embarrassment. The woman seized the moment, her voice soft but powerful. "I wasn't always like this. Before my service dog, I struggled every day with simple tasks most people take for granted. Crowded places, busy streets, they were terrifying. This dog saved me. She helps me live a life I never thought possible. And she deserves respect." The restaurant was silent now, the weight of her words settling over everyone. Faces softened, some looked ashamed for having judged. The manager's mouth opened slightly, as if to say something, but no words came out. The power in the room had shifted. What had started as a conflict driven by suspicion and bias had flipped. The woman, quiet and composed, now held the moral high ground. The manager, once loud and certain, stood small and cornered. Around the room, the diners whispered their support. The tension that had filled the air dissolved into a quiet respect. The woman's badge lay on the table, a small piece of plastic that meant so much more than anyone had realized. In that moment, the service dog rested her head on the woman's knee, calm and steady. The struggle had been hard, but the woman's courage had won the day. And everyone who watched knew they had witnessed something important, a reminder that kindness, understanding and truth could break through even the toughest walls of prejudice. Just as the tension seemed to reach its peak, the restaurant's back door opened, and the owner stepped in. She had heard the raised voices from the kitchen and hurried over to see what was happening. Her eyes quickly took in the scene, the woman, the calm service dog, and the manager standing stiffly nearby. The owner's voice was steady but kind as she spoke to the manager. "What's going on here?" she asked. The manager quickly explained, but the owner held up a hand to stop him. Turning to the woman, she said softly, "I'm sorry you were treated this way. You have every right to be here with your service dog." She then faced the manager, her tone firm. "You need to apologize." The manager's face flushed, and after a pause, he muttered, "I'm sorry," though it sounded forced and reluctant. He looked down, defeated, the weight of the moment pressing on him. Around the restaurant, a gentle applause began. It was quiet at first, but it grew steadily. customers clapping for the woman's courage and calmness in the face of unfairness. Some smiled warmly, others gave nods of respect. The woman looked around, her eyes meeting those of strangers who had just become allies. She gave a small, grateful smile, and whispered a quiet thank you. Relief washed over her, but beneath it, the day's hurt and fear still lingered. Her service dog settled beside her, resting her head gently on the woman's foot. That simple gesture said more than words. The dog was not just a helper, but a constant source of strength and comfort. The owner approached and softly assured the woman, "If you ever need anything, we're here for you." As the restaurant slowly returned to its normal rhythm, a hopeful feeling filled the air. This moment had been about more than just a badge or a dog, it was about respect and understanding. It was a reminder that standing up for what's right, even when it's hard, can change hearts and minds. The woman finished her meal, feeling a little stronger than before. Around her, the people in the restaurant had witnessed a quiet victory, a step toward a world where everyone is treated with kindness and dignity, no matter their challenges. In moments like these, it becomes clear how quickly people can judge without knowing the whole story. A simple misunderstanding, or worse, a deep bias can cause pain that lingers far beyond the words spoken. When the manager called the woman's service dog a scam, it wasn't just about a dog in a restaurant. It was a moment that revealed how harmful assumptions can be, especially toward those who rely on support that isn't always visible to everyone. Respect and empathy are more than just polite words, they are the bridges that connect us, helping us see beyond our own experiences. Taking a moment to listen, to learn, and to understand can change a situation from hurtful to healing. It's easy to jump to conclusions, but it takes courage and kindness to pause and open our hearts. This story reminds us all why fighting disability bias matters. Everyone deserves to live with dignity and to be treated fairly. Service animals are not a convenience, they are lifelines. And those who depend on them face challenges most people never see. Standing up for what's right, even when it feels difficult, can inspire change. The courage of one woman, her calm strength, and the loyalty of her dog showed everyone in that restaurant what true bravery looks like. As we go about our daily lives, may we remember to choose kindness. A simple act of understanding can make all the difference. Let's be the reason someone feels accepted, seen, and respected. Because in the end, kindness is what truly makes us human.